It's kind of funny. I was like starting it and like the mic wasn't working. So, yeah. I think the sound's working for my game here. Yeah, it's a little low. Oh. Whoa. 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 All right. Now that sound check's over with, I'll be right back. But like, we got a, we got a full. How many quests is that? 8 dailies? Jesus. Okay, I got it. I already got a few of them already done. Okay, so I only need to do this one, this one. This will be pretty easy. I'm already here to grab them. And then if I get it, then I can acquire that. The teapot. This one I want to re-roll, bro. Like, honestly, I don't like doing those. Alright. I don't even care, bro. I don't even care. Okay, so those are all loaded up. But anyway, like, in the meantime, I don't know if I caught it, but it was JD Vance. Basically, they were trying to say that the Iran deal didn't work out, so they're gonna resume bombing. Whoa, that better have been green. Golly me. Okay, so here. Okay. Just to show you, like, this person has, I don't want to say he has no life, bro, but he's level 15,112. And then he dipped out. See? That's insanely high level. I'm only level 200 and something. Like, 15,000 is insane. I mean, come on, you know, like, for real. I just saw level 29 outside. This dude was level 15,112. I bet that level 29 guy was like, oh my god, what have I gotten myself into? I mean, that's what I just thought. Wait a minute. I've never seen a level that high. Poomaloo. No, it's the Xbox had no fan on, so the whole room's
A
getting
local
hot too.
family is
Yeah.
defending a man sitting in the Tarrant County jail tonight after he allegedly shot another person last night
Hockey
in
swat?
Fort Worth. They
So
say he
better have a
was not
nest.
acting out of violence,
All
but
right,
out
guys.
of
So
protection
here's
after they claim the man approached.
I know I was kind of done with news, but these are shorts, right? Because like I need to do a couple things really quick. But I mean, yeah, just happened, just breaking. Obviously, all these are breaking. Like I say, I like to cover things when it's breaking. And it literally, like 30 seconds after I clicked the end button on last stream, this came up. The next one, not this one, the one after this.
A local family is defending a man sitting in the Tarrant County jail tonight after he allegedly shot another person last night in Fort Worth. They say he was not acting out of violence, but out of protection after they claim the man approached underage girls in their neighborhood and tried to solicit them for sex. 33-year-old Marcus Renfro is being held without bond as investigators work to piece together exactly what happened. Fox 4's Vanya Castillo joins us live and picks up the story from there. Vanya?
Hi, Casey. Yeah, we're hearing from the family of that man who explained why he allegedly shot someone in the groin and why they don't think he deserves to be in jail.
Our kids are safer now.
33-year-old Marcus Renfro is in the custody of Fort Worth police after being accused of shooting a man in the groin. His family claims he was protecting his underage nieces from a man allegedly soliciting them for sex.
I see some commotion going on with my little cousins and stuff.
Dontavius Williams says he knew something wasn't right.
And my little cousin them telling me that the dude said, oh, come back and smoke some meth with me. You know what I'm saying? Some drugs.
The family saying this wasn't the first time. Fort Worth police say officers had been called to the 3700 block of Century Palace on Friday morning after receiving calls of a man possibly under the influence and soliciting children for sex.
But we already been heard that certain dude been messing with other little kids around here.
That's when they say Renfro stepped in.
They exchanged some words. When Marcus was walking away, he just ran up on him like he was trying to approach him, like to hurt him in some way.
Police have not confirmed this version of the events. As officers arrived, they heard a gunshot.
And then he said something to Marcus, and then he turned around and Marcus shot him.
Police say they found the man who matched the suspect's description with a gunshot wound in the groin. Police say the man was taken to the hospital and expected to survive. At this time, it's not clear if he'll face charges. Renfro was taken into custody. Online records show he had a warrant from another town. Still, family members believe the children were in danger and that his use of force was necessary. His wife, who is 24 weeks pregnant, says the impact goes beyond the moment.
I mean, they're traumatized by the situation.
And that situations like these don't just end.
I mean, because you're putting a child in danger and you're also putting them through trauma that is going to affect them for the rest of their lives.
Dude said the wrong thing and consequences came behind it.
Saying she wishes someone had stepped up like that for her.
I've been through a similar situation as well when I was younger, so I wish somebody would have done for me the way he did for them.
Keep y'all kids protected. Keep them in the house best you can. If you're not in the area, you know, there's predators everywhere. But man, just keep a close eye on them.
Now, investigators are working to determine exactly what happened. Renfro is being held at the Tarrant County Jail with no bond set yet. Back to you, Casey.
We'll be looking forward to Fort Worth police kind of filling in some of the blanks on this story. Fox 4's Vanya Castillo, thank you for your reporting tonight.
Well, good morning, everybody. And let me say a couple of notes of appreciation. First of all, to the Prime Minister of Pakistan and to Field Marshal Munir, who were both incredible hosts. And whatever shortcomings in the negotiation, it wasn't because of the Pakistanis who did an amazing job and really tried to help us and the Iranians bridge the gap and get to a deal. We have been at it now for 21 hours, and we've had a number of substantive discussions with the Iranians. That's the good news. The bad news is that we have not reached an agreement, and I think that's bad news for Iran much more than it's bad news for the United States of America. So we go back to the United States having not come to an agreement. We've made very clear what our red lines are, what things we're willing to accommodate them on, and what things we're not willing to accommodate them on. And we've made that as clear as we possibly could, and they have chosen not to accept our terms. Questions?
Sir, Nick Robertson from CNN. Precisely what have they rejected here? Can you help us understand it a little bit?
Well, I won't go into all the details because I don't want to negotiate in public after we've negotiated for 21 hours in private. But the simple fact is that we need to see an affirmative commitment that they will not seek a nuclear weapon and they will not seek the tools that would enable them to quickly achieve a nuclear weapon. That is the core goal of the President of the United States, and that's what we've tried to achieve through these negotiations. Again, their nuclear program, such as it is, the enrichment facilities that they had before, they've been destroyed. But the simple question is, do we see a fundamental commitment of will for the Iranians not to develop a nuclear weapon, not just now, not just 2 years from now, but for the long term? We haven't seen that yet. We hope that we will. Jen.
Was there a framework on anything, and also did the Iranian frozen assets come up, and did you reach any conclusions on those?
We talked about all those issues, Jen, and we talked about a number of issues beyond that. And so certainly those things came up. But again, we just could not get to a situation where the Iranians were willing to accept our terms. I think that we were quite flexible. We were quite accommodating. The president told us, you need to come here in good faith and make your best effort to get a deal. We did that. And unfortunately, we weren't able to make make any headway. Preston.
Mr. Vice President, how often did you communicate with President Trump throughout the negotiations? There were reports that there were multiple rounds where there were breaks in between negotiations. How often did you communicate with the president throughout those rounds, and what was he saying as you were going through these negotiations that you said fell short?
Yeah, obviously we were talking to the president consistently. I don't know how many times we talked to him, a half dozen times, a dozen times over the past 21 hours. We obviously also talked to Admiral Cooper, to Pete, to Marco, to the entire national security team. We talked to Scott Bessent a number of times. So look, we were constantly in communication with the team because we were negotiating in good faith. And we leave here with a very simple proposal, a method of understanding that is our final and best offer. We'll see if the Iranians accept it. Thank you.
Straight up removed.
Are we going back to war, sir? Minister Netanyahu at all today? What about the Strait of Hormuz? Did they give you any indication of the Supreme Leader's health?
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.
When did you get introduced to Elon Musk, or did he ever find you?
When one of my friends was considering joining Doge, he referred me to start working there too. You know, I think the national debt is a huge problem. I think that government services are very outdated. Like they're not serving the people super well. So I joined because I thought that there was a chance that maybe we can improve this, that we could, you know, take a look at the national debt and cut some things out that, you know, definitely aren't required for the government to be spending money on. And I'm sure we'll go through some of those grants later. But I was really driven by the mission. I thought the mission was incredible. So I joined Doge because I just loved the idea. I love the idea of cutting money from the debt and setting our future generations up for success. Because if this pattern continues, our money is just going to be inflated into not mattering. And it felt like my representatives in Congress weren't doing anything about it. In fact, their only solution, it seems like, is to just spend more money. We have a problem, okay, let's just throw money at it. And people that run companies know that this is a terrible way to run a company, but we think it's a completely acceptable way to run a country.
And click right here to see what happens next.
Let's get up out of here.
DJ, when we go together.
I hate grabbing shit.
Shit, DJ. Shit. DJ.
Dadgum aliens, dadgum black bars, dadgum the government, dadgum all of it.
Oh man, you just start asking questions and it's like rolling a small snowball down the top of a mountain and it becomes an avalanche by the time it hits. And well, I guess all of our UFO questions are starting to hit. We're certainly not the only people that ask UFO questions, but we have gone into the halls of everyone from NASA to the Vice President's office, to members of Congress that really know what they're talking about here, like Tim Burchett, and asked questions like, what's going on with this UFO story? And we've gotten a ton of different answers, but Tim Burchett, who's in charge of sort of the task force on UFOs, has said, we're getting pretty close to the truth here. And that alien technology will destroy all of us. Okay? Many people have speculated that the discombobulator and ghost murmur and some of the most advanced weaponry and technology in our U.S. military is derived from alien tech. And this I don't know. The Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, right? The advanced black box weaponry that's 20, 30, 50 years, a light year advanced. What is all that? Tim Burchett says that, if it was turned and loosed on the people of Earth, that we'd all be gone and vanished in a second. The loose-lipped Republican politician made fresh, wild assertions about classified government meetings. He alleged the existence of alien programs and secret forced breeding programs. Yeah, baby. Rep. Tim Burchett continued his recent extraterrestrial revelations in a recent interview just as NASA is circling the moon. During a discussion with TMZ, he said that in a closed-door setting, he had a secure meeting with an unnamed official, and he said the official gave the address, times, and dates where people were effectively breeding with aliens. Okay. And then he got more specific, saying directly that reports of pieces of machinery and life that were found did not seem earthly. We'll go ahead and play you some of this. Since we're part of it. We asked Matt Gaetz about this, and he was like, "Oh yeah, don't worry. There's alien and human breeding programs." Okay. I don't know. Is that this is how you get Tilda Swinton? Okay. So what does Tim Burchett have to say here to TMZ? First thing, and Tim Burchett talking about the machinery that the aliens have and how that machinery could destroy us.
There have been different reports over the years. Some reports that there have been pieces of machinery that were found that did not seem earthly. And then there have been reports about life that is not earthly. Which one of those two, or both, are you talking about? A form of life that is not earthly, or just something mechanical that's not earthly?
I'd say you'd be safe to say both.
The way you described this, whatever happened at this meeting, this briefing that was happening, was there something that if we knew, we would feel that we are in danger? You said you wouldn't sleep at night if you knew the things that I saw in these briefings.
Yeah,
should we believe that? That's the part where it seemed alarming.
I don't think we're at danger of this. I mean, if these things exist as I think they do, they could have destroyed us with a blink of an eye. I just don't see that, and I think that's. I just think, but I do think they have the technology and the capabilities of something that we can't understand or we can't grasp.
Tim Burchett went on to say that humans and aliens have interacted with each other. I'm not sure if they've mated, but interacted with each other. Yeah, here we go.
What I want to make sure I'm understanding is a member of our government has told you and others, I guess, that there is a form of alien life and machinery which maybe brought this living creature here that interacted in some form with people?
Yeah, they have, and they've. It's pretty wild. I know. But I'm just telling you, I'm not going to lie to you. I'd take a lie to you. You want to put me on a polygraph, I'll take it. But this is what the guy told me. I mean, I've had a very high-ranking naval official describe. I've talked about this before. Underwater craft, something big as a football field, moving at over 200 miles an hour. And there's no fish in the ocean that would do that. We don't even have a sub that'll probably do 40 miles an hour under the. And the last thing he said before he left my office was, it was kind of weird because he didn't go out he went out the side door, which nobody ever uses. And he looked at me, he pulled me up close, and he said, "Tim, they're real." And that's the last thing he said to me. That'll be the title of my book, I guess.
And then the big one, Tim Burchett talks about the clip on our show with Matt Gaetz saying, maybe there's human alien hybrids wandering around the Earth. How you get Joe Biden in a skin suit, right? It's a malfunction. That's a malfunction one. There you go.
Matt Gaetz was involved in something here just recently. He was interviewed and he talked about this interbreeding thing with.
We saw that. We saw that.
Yeah. Well, that's a true story. That was a military personnel. I think that would be a good story to talk to him about if you all can do that.
Right. He says he learned that from someone in the military.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a guy, it was an officer in uniform. Yeah. And Matt and I and Representative Luna, we all went down to Florida, and we were turned away. And then Matt made a phone call to somebody at the Pentagon, and all of a sudden they opened the doors and brought the pilots in that were supposed to tell us the story in the first place. And he can probably elaborate a little bit more on that. But that was pretty fantastic. That was a made-for-TV special right there in itself.
So yeah, these clips have certainly made the round. There's a reason why we love Tim Burchett, claiming he'll take a polygraph. He knows it. Not one piece of internet drama is crazier or more important than Tim Burchett saying that aliens are real and there have been human contact. The government insider briefed him. Extraterrestrials have visited Earth. These aliens made direct contact with humans. Government and military officers personally confirmed this. And he's seen and heard reports of massive underwater crafts moving at 200 miles an hour, faster than anything a human could do in the sea. And his briefings were wild and alarming. They'd unglue the country, and they'd be up at night if we saw what he saw. He's 100% serious. Offers to take a lie detector test. Tim Burchett, spilling the tea. Yep. So there is alien life, and the machinery of aliens are being used by our forces. Got it. He is very angry. He told me he's very angry about these UFO scientists being found dead after testifying to Congress. Something that we're constantly confused about. Why more people don't care about this. There is a spate of deaths and disappearances of UFO technologists within our federal government. And the more that people start talking about these things, the more that people start asking questions, think like the better our country's going to be. I don't really know the answer, but I know this. We're going to find out soon. I know it. I can feel it in my bones. They're like preparing us for something. I'm not sure if it's good. It might be the end times. It's obviously going to be a trick, but it's something. All right, they're preparing for something. You can sense it. Anyway, it's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Have you seen an alien or UFO? Let me know. Yeah.
The war in Iran escalating tensions this week, and there may be a new adversary against the U.S. and Israel, China. CNN reporting the communist nation is preparing to deliver new air defense systems to Iran. So joining me now is retired Marine intelligence officer, host of the Strap podcast, and national security expert, Hal Kempfer. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ashley.
So Hal, what does this report mean for keeping the ceasefire?
Well, this adds a new dynamic. You know, first we had a report that Russia was providing intelligence to Iran that they were using to target U.S. bases and U.S. personnel. Now we have a report that China is actually shipping in weapons, air defense weapons. These are the same type of weapons that were used to shoot down the F-15, where we had to rescue the aircrew from that, and to shoot down the A-10 and a variety of other things. So obviously this poses a direct threat to our forces. This is something I'm sure we're discussing with China, but this goes to the alignment. You know, you got Russia, China, Iran, North Korea. Those four are working in sync in things all around the world. So it's not a shock, but it is disappointing.
They also mentioned that China is routing the shipments through other countries to mask their identity. What can you tell us about that, if anything?
China's a master at that. They use shell corporations. The ships that come in can be under third country flags, different shell corporations from around the world. In fact, a lot of times it's not quite the same as the shadow tanker fleet with Russia, but when you start getting into who owns the ship, what country is that ship registered to, the flag country or the flag state for the ship. And then you get into, well, what is actually on the ship? What is the cargo that's on the ship? Who's the master of the vessel? Who's who's in the crew? You start breaking that down, you start finding that there's all sorts of nefarious things going on many times, and that's the case in this, where they're basically using third countries to mask the fact that they are providing all the support for Iran in its war against the U.S. and Israel, and really against all the Gulf states and against the Middle East.
So we know that Vice President J.D. Vance is leading these negotiations in Pakistan and trying to talk with Iran there. But when you hear things like, well, China's going to help out Iran against us, I mean, your mind immediately goes to World War III. Is this concerning that China's coming into this story now?
There have been discussions about this. When this story surfaced, there are a lot of people who see what's going on right now around the world with Ukraine, Russia, with the Middle East, as the beginnings of World War II or World War III, kind of like the turbulent international situation in the 1930s was the beginnings of what eventually became World War II. So there's a lot of people who see that, and when you see great powers, and China definitely falls into the great power context these days, when you see them doing something to support this war, one can go back to the 1930s and find parallels of, for example, Nazi Germany supporting Spain and its civil war and all sorts of other things that went on back in that time period. So I don't know that this is the beginning of World War III, but it certainly adds a high degree of international risk to everything, especially international commerce, the international supply chain. And we're starting to see that, where countries are pulling back and they're trying to gain more control over their own supplies, their own resources, realizing that being reliant on things from overseas, particularly from the Persian Gulf, where the Strait of Hormuz can be cut off, is putting them at great risk and actually posing a risk to their national security.
All right, let's hope these negotiations play out in our favor. Hal, thank you so much for joining us.
All right, how's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Saturday night. It is April 11th, 2026, 10:52 p.m. That's California time here, where it's still quite wet. I love it. Latest activity here shows a 2.8 earthquake. Looks like down there across the South America area, hiding there in that green flag. I don't know if you guys can see it. Little earthquake down there around the Chile region. So what do we got here? Let's go ahead and check out the tremor counts out here right off the bat along the Cascadia subduction zone. Got a little bit happening here still. 394 epicenters. That's a little bit down from yesterday. But really still quite a bit of tremor counts stirring up out there right now across the entirety of the Cascadia. Even some way up north here. I don't recall the last time we've seen anything that far. Let me just see if we got anything back in the last month or so up there. Really, yeah, not a whole lot. That's interesting. Let me go back even further here, because I'm talking about these little ones up here. It's a little odd. I don't recall seeing a whole bunch of tremor counts up there, and that's not a lot, but that's some newer activity. Let's just go back here in the last few months since this would be since November of last year. I just want to double check that and see. This is going to be a huge number, by the way. Make sure I got that set up. I think I should be able to do it. Probably going to be a staggering number. There we go. So that did fill in a little bit up north here with some tremor counts. I just, like I said, I don't recall seeing any tremor counts up there recently, but apparently it looks like there has been some there in the last several months. Either way, that's the Cascadia subduction zone, the deeper area of the Cascadia. 25,000 tremors there since about November. A pretty decent number. And I'm just kind of watching it. We're still seeing some earthquake activity out here inland. Really nothing new to report here across the southern end of the Cascadia as far as, what they're actually reporting. I haven't been looking at these graphs all day, but occasionally when I do, there's a couple earthquakes there on the Petrolia station that never ever make it onto the map. So that Petrolia station sits down here towards the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone. So if there is earthquake activity happening there, it's not showing up like it should be. Little 2.1 outside of Bernie, very shallow crustal quake due east here of the Cascadia. Let's see what we got going on up in the Pacific Northwest here. Nothing big. 2.8 over here into the Cascades. I will double check the Mount St. Helens seismograph station out here, see what's popping. It is a weekend, so a lot of times They don't report all the earthquakes out here unless it's above a certain level. I just want to see what it looks like, because a few days ago we were getting a little bit of activity here around Mount St. Helens, and wow, kind of looks like we still have activity going on there. Let me lower these a tad bit so you guys could see line spacing we can bring down. So yeah, there's I would say there's a handful of earthquakes out there. Let's go check out the other local seismograph station there and see. Oops, a little bit too far. We'll check out this other seismograph station nearby. This is up at the dome area as well. Oh yeah, so that picked up the activity along with the other seismograph stations. Sometimes I like to look and see if, you know, maybe it's something else local to that seismograph station, but it looks like this activity is definitely being picked up on both the seismograph stations there. Nothing big, but it is some activity. Let's check out another one up here around the northern area. Yeah, see, that's showing up as well. So that's definitely some earthquake activity there across Mount St. Helens. That's not being reported. Let's see what we got here for the previous day. Loading, hello. Loading. How long is it going to load? There we go. Wow, yeah, this is the previous day, so it does look like we got maybe a swarm of activity there across Mount St. Helens. I don't think those are ice quakes, because they're not going to show up like that on the seismograph stations. See, if we go back the last 7 days, there was a little cluster going on up here. Some of these did get, you know, they got reported, but, you know, for every one, there's probably 10 that they didn't report out here. And I'll have to check back on that Monday morning. But it does look like there's a little activity swarming up there across the Mount St. Helens area. And we can even double check a seismograph station further than that area. Let's go. We'll do one more step up here north. Let's see what we got. See, that one's way overblown here. Let's bring that down. But see, that's picked up activity as well. These are not big events, but it is some activity showing up there on quite a few seismograph stations there at Mount St. Helens. Mount Rainier is that volcano north here that had a, you know, really big earthquake swarm, one of the biggest ones. It never popped, but man, there was a lot of earthquake activity. And Mount St. Helens occasionally gets these swarms as well. Yes, even this station looks like it's picking up some of that activity. So we'll check back on that. Nothing big going on, I don't think, but man, it'd be nice if they included some of this earthquake activity during the weekend or off hours. Let's see, the Bay Area, nothing big. Couple smaller quakes out there. Same for Southern California. Got a little small microquake out there around Ojai. That's north of Ventura area. San Andreas Fault holding on for now. Who knows, really, who knows when that one's going to pop there. North of Warm Springs, I was just out here when I was on my way to Oklahoma here, not last week, but the week before. We went through Tonopah. That's where they have that clown motel. I always want to stay there, but Missy Mimi's, she has a fear of clowns. I think it'd be cool. You know, I'm sure quite a few of my viewers may have been through here and even stayed at that motel. I really want to one of these days. Everything's clown decorated. Anyway, Warm Springs, 2.4. Not a big earthquake swarm, but maybe stirring back up out here. This has been an area of earthquake activity here recently, with you know, quite a bit of swarming going on. Really nothing, no big earthquake, but it's definitely been swarming with quite a few earthquakes there of smaller magnitude. Oil fields of Texas doing what they do. Liquid gold out there, creating earthquakes at the same time. Nothing going on across the eastern portion of the country. The Puerto Rico Trench over here Let's see what we got. Yeah, it looks like it's starting to swarm back up here a little bit north of San Juan. Nothing big, just a bunch of threes up here, putting a squeeze on the area. There's a couple different subduction zones here. The Mariotas Trough, which is south here, kind of uplifting the Puerto Rico area, and the dipping area over here along the Puerto Rico Trench. Big area, or an area that can get some big earthquakes, but nothing big happening for now. Let's see what we got here for the Western Pacific out here. Deeper activity here around the Mariana Trench, 5-pointer. Some older movement up there around Japan. Really nothing new to report there across the area for now. Still swarming like crazy down here along the Indonesia area south of the Philippines. That's where that 7.4 struck here a while back. Some movement also working its way up north around the Sumatra area. It does look like it's trying to make its way up here. A little blank area in between Sumatra and the Myanmar region. Watch that closely. Getting it, this area is pretty active. I don't think I have to highlight it, but this area is definitely kicking up some decent activity right now. New Zealand pretty quiet down there. Little 3.3. Not so much going on up in Alaska. Nothing being reported there through Canada for now. Yeah, Atlantic Ocean quiet. Mediterranean area, some smaller quake activity out there around western Turkey, but nothing big happening out here for now. Let's take a look here at the space weather. Wow, what's going on? Who turned on the lights? We're sizzling with sea flare activity. Well, we're up in the sea flare activity. Should be saying that we're sizzling with B flare activity, which is very low. That's a little pitiful there that we can even say that this is sizzling, right? Yeah, up into the sea flare category. It does look like the sunspot area probably, it looks like both of these are starting to sizzle up a little bit. 4414 and 4416. Let's take a look here at the magnetogram image. I think the main source is going to be this area right here. It's starting to develop a little bit more. Normally when we get that crackling and sizzling there on the solar X-ray flux chart, that's a sign that things are stirring up, getting, ramping up. So we're going to have to watch that. That is rapidly developing since this morning. Notice this morning here there was a clear cut separation between in 4416. Now the area's looks like it's growing here. So we'll watch that. Might have to bump the flare threat back up. We'll have to see. Right now, 60% chance there for C flare, 10% chance there for M flare, X flare at 1% or less. No major roars in the forecast, and that G1 class storm there from the coronal holes that was supposed to happen. Well, yeah, looks like that never happened. I kind of called that, didn't I? These little bitty coronal holes do nothing really in terms of kicking out solar wind stream or amplifying the auroras. There's a larger one over here, number 42. Here's the latest imagery. We'll see what that one does. It is northward pointing, though. If you think about it here, it needs to be more center disk of the sun to get the Earth-directed component there from that high-speed solar wind stream. But we'll check back on 42 here in a few days. Severe weather. Let's see here. I don't see anything major coming up. Day 4, 5, and 6 of next week looks pretty active. For Sunday's forecast here, we got a slight risk here up on the category 2 for some severe weather. It does look like there's a tornado threat here, and maybe across Oklahoma and Texas, a severe or a stronger tornado threat there in the hatched area. A little bit of wind and some big time hail out there across your typical zones here that do see that. There's our low pressure system there. I want to show you guys here real quick here. Let me bring up the GOES West satellite imagery. I want to show you guys this beautiful low pressure system out here. Lightning flash. Let's bring this one up here. This is a beautiful system. Look at that hook, like a comma out here. That's a strong low pressure system aimed right at the Northern California coast. Hopefully that doesn't trigger the Cascadia. Sometimes I've seen these typhoons and hurricanes. They'll go over a certain area, and it seems like it triggers a large event. You never know. You know, the atmospheric pressures out here can definitely have an effect there on plate tectonics, I believe. Anyway, that's a spin in there off the Northern California coast, about ready to stir up another band of convection there across the North Bay, and probably make it down or over here towards where I live here in Chico, outside of Chico. A lot of lightning out here. We've seen more lightning with this system than we've had, in the past few years. Definitely an interesting system. We don't normally get these in April. April's normally starts to turn dry out here. But with all this rain we picked up, I think we'll stay green, for the vegetation-wise anyway. I love my field when it's green. I don't like it dead and dry. So maybe we'll stay wet out here, or green out here till June, maybe even longer, hopefully. So that's going to stir up some further rain. Let's see what we got out here. Once that moves out, that's going to stir up the severe weather here across the southern plains. Another system coming into the Pacific Northwest. It's cold out there right now. And then another system there for Northern California. I have to watch that. It does look unsettled out here. A lot of moisture out here, and I do think it has something to do with the temperature anomaly out there along the sea. It's quite warmer out here off the coast of California than average, and of course that could play a part on the overall picture, right, of the El Nino coming in. So it's possible we could stay stormy out here along the west coast here for a little while. All right, let's see what else we got here. Nothing major coming in there. Seismograph stations look pretty quiet. That Kodiak Island, Alaska station has been offline for a little while, so I'm going to remove it and pull back up a Japan station there. So we'll keep it as is. Live streams have been running pretty good. Maybe I better not speak too soon there, but maybe whoever was messing with me there, pulling the stream down, is finally giving up, hopefully. Because it's been up fairly solid here for quite a while. I don't know how long we've been live streaming. For quite a while, though. How's it going out there, everyone? Thanks for checking in. Not for sure what's going on with that. A little glitch there. All right. Anyway, have a good night, folks. We'll see you guys out here in the morning for the Sunday morning update. Take care and stay safe out there.
you frame the American Sovereignty and Integrity Act, ASIA 2026, into a long form thing that I can print out and give to the Senator Jay Obernolte over in a couple days at the Yucca Valley Community Center. He's supposed to be there from 2 to 4. Sorry, man. Oh, you're gonna fall. Don't fall, please. I'll do it. Please, don't fall. I'll do it. I'll do it.
I've framed this as a formal legislative briefing
Can you
for the
eat my
American
ice cream?
sovereignty
It's like